Somewhere in the maze of Parisian back streets, there is a place few ever discover. The Blue Restaurant isn't on any guide, nor does it need to be. It exists in the quiet corners of the imagination, where color, form, and feeling converge to create something timeless. This painting began with a foundation that feels counterintuitive. A primed canvas bursting with all the colors of the spectrum. Reds, greens, yellows, blues, all layered in an unpredictable dance of hues. At first glance, it may seem chaotic, but that foundation isn't meant to stay exposed. It's the life beneath the surface, the pulse of energy that would later guide the image. As I worked, I used a palette knife, not a brush, to bring the scene to life. A palette knife isn't just a tool, it's an extension of thought, offering a spontaneity and boldness brushes sometimes can't. It allows for textures, layers and edges that feel alive. The walls, painted in expressive arcs of blue, began to take shape, not with rigid lines, but with marks that suggested form and motion. Blue dominates the palette, but hints of the multicolored primer peeking through in places, lending the image an almost iridescent depth. The table and chairs emerged next. Their forms are simple, but their placement and proportions carry meaning. There is symmetry here, a deliberate balance, yet the scene isn't stiff or staged. It's fluid, almost as though the elements arranged themselves naturally. This is where painting becomes both craft and intuition. The composition isn't just about what is painted, it's about what is left unsaid. The gaps, the spaces, the subtle suggestions invite the viewer to engage, to project their own meaning to the scene. The palette itself is a study in contrasts. Blue, of course, is dominant. A color often associated with calm, but also with introspection and depth. Around it, accents of warm yellows and greens bring balance, breaking the potential monotony and hinting at vibrancy. This interplay of warm and cool tones reflects the dual nature of the space. Intimate, yet universal, grounded, yet imaginative. What fascinates me about this process is how much the painting dictates its own evolution. While the initial concept was clear, the marks on the canvas began to guide the story. The arched walls became almost architectural, grounding the composition, while the creeping flowers added softness and movement. The marks, textured and deliberate, created not just objects, but atmosphere. In painting this scene, I wanted to explore not just a physical space, but an idea. The way environments can hold meaning. A restaurant, after all, is not just a place to eat. It's a stage for human connection, for the rituals of life that are both ordinary and extraordinary. The Blue Restaurant is an invitation to sit, reflect, imagine, and wonder about the interplay of light, color, and space that makes art and life so endlessly fascinating.